again, I was reading some stuff on the internet, like what people have been saying, and it got me thinking, so that's why I'm making this video. But rather, not because somebody said it, but rather, this is just to kind of get people thinking, though. So, if you're not familiar with IC 1101, it's currently the biggest galaxy that we know of, at least the one I can find. And from what I understand, it has at least 100 trillion stars in it. But what's really interesting, though, is it's 60 times bigger than the Milky Way, at least. Now, the Milky Way galaxy is said to have at least 500 billion stars in it. Now, if you were to take that number, so essentially what you're trying to do is take 500 billion, and essentially it's like timesing that by 200, and if my math's correct, that should be 100 trillion. But I'd have to look it up again. I'll have to check it out. But you know, actually, it should be 200. But why is it that, you know, like for example, IC 1101 can have 100 trillion stars in it, but there's like a 200 times star difference versus, well, I mean, if you wanted to say it was 500 instead of 400. But why is it that, you know, that galaxy's bigger, has more stars in it, but it's not like just 60 times bigger? You know, 60 times bigger as far as, because the diameter, they say the Milky Way is at least 100,000 light years, but IC 1101 is actually supposed to be like 6 million light years, so 60 times bigger. But how is it that, you know, it's 60 times bigger in diameter, but at the same time, though, it's got like 200 times more stars in it? And to offer a reasonable conclusion, I mean, obviously, you know, maybe it's got more than that. But then again, at the same time, though, you know, it's so far away from the Earth, I wonder how they even measure it in the first place. But I'm sure scientists have something. But anyways, the way I look at it is the solar systems have to be smaller than what we think they are, and probably a little bit smaller than what we might think, just so it can fit in the areas. Because when you think about a galaxy, for the most part, I mean, you have solar systems in it, but at the same time, though, most solar systems don't, like, connect to each other. So, like, for example, like our sun, you know, you take its gravitational, you know, take the circumference of its orbit, the solar system, and then maybe there's like a little bit of space from the next solar system over. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's what they refer to as a parsec, measuring the distance between stars and sun. I believe 1 parsec, if I'm not mistaken, was 3.26 light years, so 19 trillion miles, if I got that right. My point is, you know, all stars either are big or small, but at the same time, though, we really have to take into consideration, you know, what fits in what galaxies, and I mean, it's probably even more than that. And I mean, according to what science has always shown, you know, these objects are huge. The solar system's huge, the Milky Way is huge, the universe is huge. There's stuff that's out there. You know, the way I look at it, if we don't have an accurate, I mean, even though it's pretty big and you don't know everything, but the way I look at it, it's always bigger than what we think it is, because that's just how the universe is. It's always huge because there's so much we don't know about it. So, in other words, I think IC 1101 is probably much bigger than what we think it is, and it's also got more stars in it. But just to wrap it up, like how that much mass can fit in that much space, believe it or not, you know, the stars would have to be spaced out, but at the same time, though, for the most part, some of the stars, if they have their own solar system and objects orbiting them, they would have to be smaller than what we think they are.